What's going on, guys? It's Carter, and today we are going to be covering 3 simple things that you can do with your brand new $1,200 stimulus check from the government. So if you're one of the lucky 50 million hardworking Americans who are expecting a $1,200 stimulus check, then you may or may not have gotten your check today in the form of a direct deposit if you already filed your taxes. Now, if you're like me, the first thing you think is, well, great, now I have an extra $1,200 bucks, but what do I do with it? And I actually got that question from one of my buddies today, and I wanted to hop on and cover 3 simple ideas for what you can do with that $1,200 stimulus check to make it go the furthest. So the very first thing that I would recommend you do with this $1,200 stimulus check is to put it in the bank and let it sit there. If you don't already have an emergency fund, you should have at least, bare minimum, 1 month's living expenses saved up in the bank, ready to rock and roll if you get laid off from your job, or if you have some unexpected expenses come up and your car breaks down, and any other things. You should have at least 1 month's living expenses in the bank at all times, just as an emergency fund. So if you don't already have that in place, I'd recommend just taking that $1,200 stimulus check, leaving it in the bank, and whenever you need it, hopefully you don't, but whenever you need it, it's there for you to draw on. Now, while I think that that's a great option, some of you will say, okay, well, I already have enough money saved up in the bank for me to kind of have as an emergency fund, but what do I do with it to use that money to make me more money? And a lot of people's first, I guess, gut impulse would be, well, I might as well invest it in the stock market, right? We've had some pretty volatile times recently. We've seen the stock market tank today, actually. It's just been plummeting, and so people go, well, if the market's trading at such a discount, then isn't it a good time to invest now? And while I might agree with that strategy, I don't think that that's always the best thing for somebody that's just got their $1,200 stimulus check. With $1,200, that's really not a ton of money. So what I would recommend is, if you're really looking to use that money to make more money, my tip number 2 would be to invest in yourself. Now, this is something that will pay dividends in the future and will probably honestly have a higher return on investment than if you were to just go and throw it in an index fund or an Amazon stock or something like that. If you have anything like a hobby or anything that could potentially make you more money in the future, or that you're really passionate about and you want to go after and chase, I would recommend investing in that. So for me, if I wanted to make more YouTube videos with my money, then I would end up going out and maybe buying a better lens or buying a new camera or something like that, or a ring light, which I just got here. So with that $1,200, I would say you'll get a higher return on investment if you invest that $1,200 into something that you love and something that you're passionate about, versus just going out, throwing in the stock market and forgetting about it. You'll probably get higher returns in the long run if you just invest in yourself. So with $1,200, it's not a ton of money. So it really is the perfect amount where you can go out and get something that you're passionate about and up your creativity and make better YouTube videos, or get that guitar that you want to take you to the next level, or whatever it might be in your specific situation. That's my tip number 2 for what to do with that $1,200, is to go out and invest in yourself versus investing in the market. Now remember, that's only if you already have an emergency fund. Tip number 3 would be to, well, invest it in the stock market. Like I mentioned earlier, we've seen a substantial downturn in the economy. The stock market has been tanking over the past couple of months. We've seen a substantial amount of volatility, and depending on how long this quarantine and coronavirus thing lasts, we could see the market go a lot lower. So if you are looking to invest it and maybe start a retirement account, this $1,200 might be a good way to kickstart that retirement account that you've always put off and said, oh, I'll do it next year, or I'll do it at a different date. So the best thing you can do with that, if you already have an emergency fund and you don't have anything that you're really passionate about that you think will have a high return on investment, then go out there and start a retirement account. Now, my personal recommendation would be to open up a Roth IRA. Roths are great because you put in after-tax money that you've already paid taxes on, and that money grows tax-free all throughout time, and even into retirement you can withdraw it without paying taxes. Now, that's huge because odds are right now you're in a lower tax bracket than you would be in retirement. And so if you pay the taxes now and you invest that in the market, if that grows to $4,000 by the time you retire, that is $4,000 you can take out in retirement and not have to pay any taxes on. Now, that's huge. The other reason why I like the Roth idea is the fact that your principal, so the money that you initially put in, is withdrawable at all times and you don't have to pay taxes on it. So what that means is if you put in $1,200 today and that grows to $3,000 and you need to make an early withdrawal, typically you're not able to withdraw any of that because it's a retirement account. You have to wait till the age of 59 and a half to withdraw the entire balance. However, your principal, so what you invested into it, is always liquid. So what you can do is, if something does come up, it's not usually recommended, but if something does come up, you can withdraw from that Roth IRA whatever you invest into it, and you won't have to pay taxes on it. So it's not the most liquid of things, but it's more liquid than something like a traditional IRA or a 401k. So the Roth is a great idea for somebody that's really looking to get started into investing. You just have to be prepared to leave it in there till retirement, unless hardships come and you have to withdraw on it. But the goal is to leave that in there until retirement. So that would be my third thing, is open up a Roth IRA and consider investing in that. Now, the way to go about investing in a Roth IRA is pretty simple. I would just recommend going onto Fidelity's website. Fidelity has commission-free trading. You can open up a Roth IRA very easily. And then what I would do is I wouldn't put all $1,200 in at once. Maybe put a little chunk into it now and a little chunk into it next week and the following week. And you can slowly invest over time. That way it kind of averages out however much, or the price that you're buying in at. That's called dollar cost averaging. So I think that opening up that Roth IRA is really the best bet if somebody's really looking to get started with their first retirement account. The Roth's the way to go in almost all cases. Now, there are some limitations, and I would highly recommend you go online and look up the individual restrictions for investing in a Roth, because there are income limitations. There's a couple other unique things that you have to take into consideration there. And obviously, none of this is meant to be direct advice, because it's not right for every single person. Don't just go out and open up a Roth IRA without thinking about it. Make sure it's the right investment tool for you. Do some research, do some additional research on top of this, and then if you decide it's the right thing, then go ahead and open it. I would just recommend doing it through Fidelity or another brokerage platform that has commission-free trading and doesn't charge you any commissions. So those are my 3 things that I would recommend you do with your $1,200 stimulus check. Obviously, it's up to you to do whatever you want. There's plenty of other options out there. Those are just the 3 things that come to the forefront of my mind and that I recommended to some of my friends that texted me right when they got it and said, hey, I just got $1,200. What do I do with it? So those are good things to take into consideration. But number 1, prioritize your health, stay safe, wear masks, and social distance. Thanks, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.